Hey everyone, it's Jason and welcome to a DC deck building Injustice Gods Among Us. This is the Kickstarter exclusive box. We're going to go through the unboxing here. You can check out part 1 where I went through the rulebook to explain some of the overall effects of the game and some of the new concepts. This one we're going to start going over the cards. I will mention when we get to any of the Kickstarter exclusive stuff, which will either be at the end of the video, it might even be in video 3 depending on how long this goes. But let's hop in and look at our cards. So we're going to start off by just looking at some of the basic cards, the regular decks. We get our light punches, we have our starter cards. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it's 20 of those. So in the regular DC deck building games, you always usually get a punch and a vulnerability. Those are your 2 starting cards. So since, oh look, it actually says right there on the bottom. I love that. Times 5 in the starter deck. That is a super helpful mechanic that every set they need to like reprint and put these in there. Just as a helpful thing. So yeah, they usually have a punch which has +1 power. And then you have vulnerabilities. So this game adds, it still has a punch card, but it's light punch. But then we also get our vulnerabilities, which we have two per starter deck. So there should be 8 of those for 4 players. But then we also get an additional new card. We have heavy punch. We get 8 of those as well, which have 1 power. So just like your regular punch, but they also have an attack built in. Deal 2 damage to target foe. This way you can start attacking right off the bat. And you're not just buying cards and then spending your first couple of turns. You can at least start doing damage because this is a fighting game. But then we also, to help with that, we also have 1 copy for each character of Defend, which has a starting defense. This card just to avoid an attack. Now, of course, this also means right off the bat, if you're playing 4 players, each player could do 2 attacks, but each player can only defend once. So depending on how you draw your cards and how you shuffle, you might have your defend in your second hand, and you could take a bunch of attacks right away and not be able to defend against them. Or you might block one and other guys can hit you. So it's very interesting. I also love the fact that there's brand new artwork on all these that use the Injustice pictures. Then our side deck is the new Flying Kick, which replaces the regular kick card. So it does 2 powers just like a regular kick. Costs 3, but it has an attack built into it. Deal 2 damage to target foe. And there are 16 of those. I thought I'd look it up rather than counting them. So this is one of the things that they started doing with some of the sets outside of the base games, is it started adding non-kick cards, which, if played with that set, functionally works the same as a kick card. If you added this into any other set, the only difference is the regular kicks from the other base games are superpowers. These ones aren't. So I could even argue swapping like something like this out for those, so that way nobody gains a bonus of having extra superpowers. So if people have a character that says, oh, I play a superpower, I can buy more kicks. This would eliminate that need. Because if you ignore the attack part, it works the exact same other than having that subtype. Alright, then we have our weakness cards, which I believe there's 16 of those as well. I'm sorry, there's 20 of those. It's just Superman being shot with kryptonite. Return this card to attack if destroyed. Take 1 unavoidable damage and return this card to its stack. Yeah, so this works just, again, in this game with the attacking feature, it obviously works very well with that and enhances that ability to take extra damage. But then it goes away, which is kind of nice. Versus the other weaknesses would stay in your hand. But if you're playing this with, if you tried to mix this in with other games that don't have the health meter, this really wouldn't do anything. Alright, so those are our basic cards. We just wanted to go through that. We're also going to get 4 copies of the health, which are just going to have the Injustice logo on the back. And they're all going to be the same. Nothing extra special there. Alright, then let's look at our oversized character cards, if I can get them. Now, these are foiled. The foil part, I believe, is part of the Kickstarter. So if you buy this regularly outside, like once it hits retail, they're very possible they won't be foiled. They did this for a lot of the other sets. Any of the foils are kind of cool. They foil around the actual character. They do get a little bendy, but I think you just need to like sleeve them and probably put them where they're being pressed up against something, and that'd probably fix it. Might not. Alright, we have Injustice Batman. So of course we're going to have Batman to start with. The first time you discard or play a defense card each turn, charge your meter. Burn meter 2. Put a card with a cost of 4 or less from your discard pile on top of your deck. So this is kind of neat because he gets his burn option, so he can do that. If he wants to spend that rather than playing his super move. Then we have yellow-backed cards to help differentiate them with purple fronts, which are going to be super moves. So each character will get one of these which matches their character. So regardless of what their subtype is, Injustice, or it's usually their big name that matters. This is just Batman. He has the Dark Knight. So when you spend 5 meter to use this, he has +2 power, deal 1 unavoidable damage to each foe for each defense card you control and in your discard pile. So this could kind of combine with Batman to like, hey, if he buys more defense cards, he's going to be able to do a lot of damage. Then we have Injustice Green Arrow. The first time you play an equipment card each turn, charge your meter and reveal the top card of your deck. If it is an equipment, draw it, otherwise discard it. So that is definitely a fun ability. There it is. His super move is the Arsenal Assault, which also costs 5, +2 power, deal 1 unavoidable damage to each your foe for each equipment you control in your discard pile. So much like Batman, except he uses equipment. Next we have Injustice the Flash. When you are attacked for the first time each turn, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Each time you draw one or more cards during your turn, charge your meter. These are great ways to charge their meter outside of other cards. And then Flash gets Speed Zone. Each time you draw a card this turn, deal 1 unavoidable damage to each foe. +1 power and draw 1 card. So now remember, to use this super move, he has to build up 6. So he doesn't always have this effect. But he has, when you are attacked for the first time, you may draw a card. Each time you draw one or more cards, charge a meter. So if for some reason you could draw 6 cards on your turn, you could then play this, and it says each time you draw a card this turn, deal 1 unavoidable turn. But the thing is, you have to spend this before you play the 6 for each of them 6. So if you drew 6 cards, yes, you could spend this, but then you have to draw more cards to deal the unavoidable damage. You know, you only deal 1 by itself. So, I don't know, I think some people thought this might be broken, but I think they were just looking at it wrong. So our last hero is Injustice Harley Quinn. Yes, Harley Quinn's a good guy in this series. And she has once per turn. If you have played 3 or more cards with the different with different types this turn, draw a card. Attack 2, deal damage to the target. So she doesn't get a meter burn, she is just a straight up attack. Her super move is a Mallet Bomb. Play the top card of the main deck, then destroy it. Deal 1 unavoidable damage to each foe for each different card among the types of cards, including this you played. One you played during this turn. Yeah, so she gets a bonus for playing all the different types of cards. So those are 4 different heroes you can play as. Then we do have some bad guys, of course. We're going to start with Superman. The first time you play a superpower each turn, charge your meter and gain 1 power. Reduce the first damage dealt to you by a foe each turn by 1. So he's going to be a little bit harder to beat. His super move is Kryptonian Crush. +2 power, deal 1 unavoidable damage for each superpower you control and in your discard pile. Up next, we have Wonder Woman. She's going to team up with Superman. For each time you play an attack card with a cost of 4 or more, greater charge your meter. Meter burn to increase your damage dealt to your foes by one. And then she gains Justice Javelin. Super move, +2 deal 4 unavoidable damage to each foe. That's actually pretty powerful. And then we have Injustice Hawk Girl. You may put an attack card you gain on the top of your deck. The first time you empty a foe's health bar, each turn draw a card. So that's really neat. And then she has the Power of Nith. +3 power, deal 3 unavoidable damage to each foe, then deal 2 unavoidable damage to each foe with 11 or more health. So she just likes to deal damage. And she, like Flash, also has a 6. Then we have a fun one here. Yellow Injustice Yellow Lantern. So Hal Jordan becomes a Yellow Lantern during this. Each time you gain a hero, charge your meter. Each time you play a hero, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. And then Beware My Power. +2 power and deal 1 unavoidable damage to each foe for each hero you control and in your discard pile. So you have a character that does stuff with defense, superpowers, equipment, heroes, and just attacking. So we got all this stuff. Now it's 4 heroes, 4 villains, but we have 1 extra villain, is we have the Joker from Earth 1. So he's the guy that's, he's the Injustice Joker's the one that started the whole Injustice thing, but then Joker from Earth 1 appears in the story. He's like, oh my gosh, Joker's alive and causing trouble. The first time you just destroy a card each turn, charge your meter. Once during your turn, if you dealt 5 or more total damage to any foe this turn, let the top card of your deck and destroy it or draw it. And then he has Let's Be Serious. Each time you destroy a card this turn, deal 2 unavoidable damage to each foe, +2 power, and destroy a card in your hand. Since each time you destroy a card, you deal 2 unavoidable damage to each foe, plus you get to destroy a card in your hand just for using it, so you automatically get to do an extra 2 damage. Alright, so those are our different heroes and characters and how they're all going to work with their superpowers. Let's look at our next set of cards. We have superpowers. So you have 2 copies of Mind Games. +2 powers and meter burn 1. Put 1 defense from your discard pile on top of your deck. So you can kind of see how there's maybe the picture on the card will probably lean towards who the character is and what they do. Batman uses defense, so it works with defense. We have 2 Soaring Hawks. +1 power. If you have an attack card in your discard pile, draw a card. We have 2 copies of Somersault. Draw a card. You may discard a card. If you do, charge your meter. Defense. Discard this card to avoid an attack. If you do, charge your meter and draw a card. 2 Super Breath. +2 power. Increase the next damage you deal by 1 or more foes. You deal to 1 or more foes this turn by 2. Meter burn. Target foe cannot avoid your next attack this turn. 2 copies of Turbine Smash with Yellow Lantern. +2 power, meter burn, destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. It's also fun with some of these cards because they're gonna not only for the kind of like linking to the comic book, but they're also referencing the video games as well. We have 2 copies of, we have Sinestro in here. Construct Acts of Terror. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Attack, deal 1 damage to target foe for each starter card in your discard pile. 2 copies of the Demagoddess's Might. +1 power, you may pay 1 less charge to activate your meter burn effect this turn. 2 copies of Speed Dodge. Charge your meter and draw a card. Defense, discard this to avoid an attack. If you do, charge your meter twice and draw a card. So I kind of wonder why they said charge it twice versus, I guess that makes sense. They say why didn't they put parenthesis 2, but that might get confused with, no, yeah, because the other cards say, it's meter burn. That's probably why. Never mind. 2 copies of Heat Vision. It's like the 18th Heat Vision card we've gotten in this game. +2 power, area of attack, deal 3 damage to each foe. So that way you know that it's going to attack multiple characters. 2 copies of Running Man Stance. Draw a card, you may destroy a card in your hand. Meter Burn, 2, draw a card. 2 copies of Super Strength. Plus 2 power, you may destroy a card in the lineup. If you do, attack. Deal damage to the target foe equal to the destroyed card's cost. 2 copies of Flying Ground Smash. I think that's Talabek. He's smashing into the ground. Plus 3 power. If you successfully attack a foe this turn, plus 2 power. And then 1 copy of the Speed Force. So you can see there's a lot of superpowers in this set. Choose another card you control. Play it again. Defense. Put this card on the bottom of your deck to avoid an attack. If you do, charge your meter twice and draw up to 2 cards. Now that could be super helpful depending on how many cards are in your deck, because you might get to use it right away. Alright, those are our superpowers. Let's look at some equipment. We have a knife. 2 copies of knife. Plus 1 power, you may destroy a card in your hand or in the lineup. 2 copies of the Batmobile. Plus 1 power. If you have a defense card in your discard pile, draw a card. 2 copies of Bow and Arrow. Which makes sense. He has an equipment card, but he doesn't have superpowers because he doesn't have superpowers. Play 1 power and draw a card. Attack. Deal 4 damage to target foe. 2 copies of Giant Mallet. Draw a card. If you play or have played 3 or more cards with different types, including this one, you may destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. 2 copies of Batarangs. Plus 2 power and charge your meter. Defense. Discard this to avoid an attack. If you do, charge your meter and deal 1 unavoidable damage to each foe and draw a card. 2 copies of Chattering Teeth. Plus 1 power. Destroy the top card of the main deck. Attack. Deal damage to target foe equal to the destroyed card's cost. That's actually a fun one there. 2 copies of Grapnel Launcher. Plus 1 target. Target foe cannot avoid your attack this turn. Meter Burn, draw a card, and then discard a card. Now again, meter burns are always optional. 2 copies of Quiver of Arrows. Plus 2 power, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is an attack card, draw it, otherwise discard it or return it. 3 copies of 5U93R Pill. So this is the special pill that gets some superpowers. Increase damage and you deal to foes by 1 this turn. Destroy the top card of the main deck. You may play that card this turn. If you do, return it to the destroyed pile. So that's kind of cool. We're running out of space on there. We have 1 copy of Green Lantern's Power Ring. You may gain a hero from the lineup and put it into your hand. If you choose not to, draw a card. Meter Burn 2. Put a hero from your discard pile into your hand. And then we have the Sinestro Corp Power Ring, which, Superman's a Sinestro. You may gain a foe from the lineup and put it into your hand. If you choose not to, draw a card. Meter Burn 2. Put a villain from your discard pile into your hand. We have 1 Nymph Metal Mace. Plus 2 power and attack. Deal 6 damage to target foe. That's a lot of damage. Defense. Discard this to avoid an attack. If you do, charge your meter. Deal 4 unavoidable damage to the attacker and draw a card. The Lasso of Truth. So equipment, plus 3 power. Foes cannot avoid your next attack this turn. And then our final equipment is Sword and Shield. Plus 2 power. Attack target foe gains a weakness. Defense, discard this to avoid an attack. If you do, draw a card and target foe gains a weakness. So this is Injustice Wonder Woman versus Earth 1 Wonder Woman. So kind of neat. Alright, now let's look at our heroes. We have, and I'm going to say the word Injustice a bazillion times in here. So we have Injustice Catwoman. 2 copies, draw a card. Meter Burn X, gain a card from the lineup with the cost of X. This is where you can pay any amount, but you have to be able to afford it. 2 copies of Injustice the Atom. Plus 1 power, reveal the top card of your deck, destroy it, or return it. 2 copies of Injustice Black Canary. Plus 2 power, area attack, deal 2 damage to each foe. 2 copies of Injustice Batgirl. I think from now on, there's 2 copies of every card unless I say otherwise. Rather than me keep saying 2 copies every time. So just assume there's 2, I'll say if there's only 1. Should have Injustice back row, +2 power, charge your meter. Defense, discard this to avoid an attack. If you do, charge your meter, deal 3 unavoidable damage to the attacker, and draw a card. We have Cyborg from Earth 1, which is the main universe. +2 power, each of your foes successfully attacked this turn reveals an equipment from their hand. You may play one of these revealed cards, then return it. Injustice Deathstroke, +2 power, attack, deal 6 damage to target foe. Injustice Zatanna, +2 power, meter burn 2, put a superpower from your discard pile to your hand. Injustice Black Lightning, +1 power and charge your meter. Defense, discard this to avoid an attack. If you do, charge your meter twice. Injustice Martian Manhunter, +2 power, each bully successfully attacked this turn reveals a villain from their hand. You may play one of these revealed cards and then return it. And then there's one of each of these cards. There's 1 Injustice Nightwing, +1 power, charge your meter, and draw a card. Defense, discard this to avoid an attack. If you do, charge your meter and put up to 2 cards with a cost of 4 or less from your discard into your hand. 1 Injustice Swamp Thing, draw 2 cards, meter burn, heal 5. So it's our first healing card we've seen. And Injustice Dr. Fate, +3 power. If you control a superpower area attack, deal damage to each foe for the equal to the cost of the superpower card you control. So that's pretty cool. Alright, then we're going to look at some villains. So these are basically the heroes are essentially Batman's team, or side, just in case you were curious on that. And then this would be the regime, which would be Superman's side. Which you can, unlike, as a comparison, you might be like, well, this is like Civil War for Marvel, like Iron Man, Captain America, except that was, to some extent, you could really argue with both sides. This one you really can't argue for Superman. He ultimately becomes the villain. So we have, again, 2 copies of each of these cards unless I say otherwise. Injustice Regime Soldiers, +1 power. If you have dealt 3 or more total damage to a foe this turn, draw a card. Injustice Killer Frost, draw a card, attack target foe, gains a weakness. Injustice Robin, +1 power and charge your meter. Defense, discard this card to avoid an attack. If you do, you may destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. Injustice Atom Smasher, +2 power or meter burn 3 to add +2 power. Injustice Cyborg, +2 power, meter burn, putting equipment from your discard pile in your hand. Injustice Deadshot, +2 power, attack, deal 4 damage to target foe. Injustice Parasite, +2 power, each bully successfully attacked this turn reveals 1 superpower from their hand. You may play one of those cards revealed, then return it. Injustice Bane, +2 power. If you play or have played a defense card this turn, you may destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. Injustice Raven, +2 power. For each way you successfully attack this turn, reveal a hero from their hand. You may play one of those revealed cards, then return it. Alright, so all the rest of the next bunch of cards is only 1 of each. So there is Injustice Solomon Grundy. Put up to 3 cards for the cost of 0 from your discard pile in your hand. Area attack, each foe gains a weakness. Injustice Giganta, +2 power. You may destroy a card in the lineup. If you do, replace it. Meter burn 3, +3 power. Injustice Aquaman, +3 power. If you control an equipment, area attack, deal damage to each foe equal to the cost of the equipment you control. Alright, so that was the end of our superheroes and villains. So then the next cards we have yet to show are the Nemesis cards, which are the cards you get to fight against. Alright, so we're going to start with Batman's side. So, starting with this, but you're going to mix and match these guys together because of the fact is one side, overall you can have all 4 players playing, just the hero side. You have all 4 sides playing just the villain side, fighting each other, or you can have 2 and 2 or 3 and 1. You can have any different combinations. So these cards are meant to kind of get mixed together. Now, you could play a bunch of them together, just versus the heroes or just versus the villains. That's entirely up to you. But we have this where it starts off. Actually, I should do this. Before we look into Aquaman, he'll have been sitting there for 5 minutes. We start off with this. This is level 1, Injustice the Joker. So he's your only level 1 character, so he's supposed to start every stack. Usually the Nemesis always have that. Then after that, it's kind of mix and match. And he starts off no matter what because he's the villain for everybody at the beginning of the storyline. So he has draw 2 cards, ongoing, increase the damage you deal to foes by 1. So no matter what, you should always start with that. Then from there, you can decide what nemesis you want to face. If you want to play all heroes, you could have all villain nemesis, or if you're playing the villain side, you have all hero nemesis. Or you can just mix and match them all, and then some heroes can attack, some there, however you need to do it. And then you can basically say, instead of fighting these guys, if you're a hero, you're recruiting the hero versus, the same way you do with the regular hero villain cards. Anyway, we have Aquaman from Earth 1, plus 3 power, and you may put your deck into your discard pile. First appearance attack. Each player reveals a random card from their discard pile and destroys it unless they take damage equal to its cost. You may gain equipment from the lineup and put it in your hand. If you choose not to, plus 2 power. First appearance attack. Each player discards an equipment, takes damage equal to its cost. Each who cannot gains a weakness. Another level 2 is we have Green Lantern from Earth 1, plus 3 power, deal unavoidable damage to each foe equal to the cost of another hero you control or in your discard pile. First appearance attack, each player gains a weakness for each card of the cost of 4 or greater in their hand. Our first level 3 is Batman from Earth 1. You may gain all meter burn cards from the lineup and put them into your hand if you choose not to, plus 3 power. First appearance attack, each player destroys a meter burn card in their hand or discard pile. Each who cannot gains a weakness card. Wonder Woman from Earth 1, plus 3 power. Defense, discards to avoid an attack. If you do, redirect any damage from the attack to a target foe and draw 2 cards. First appearance attack, each player discards a villain, takes damage equal to its cost. Each who cannot gains 2 weakness cards. And then finally we have Superman from Earth 1. Plus 3 power. Put any number of different superpower cards from your discard pile into your hand. First appearance attack. Each player destroys an attack card in their hand and discard pile for each card you fail to destroy. Gain a weakness. Then for the villain side, we have Injustice Shazam. You may gain a superpower from the lineup and put it in your hand if you choose not to, plus 2 power. First appearance, each player discards a superpower, takes damage equal to its cost, do not gain a weakness. So a lot of these are the same effects, just with different cards. We have Injustice Ares. Plus 3 power and deal unavoidable damage to each foe equal to the cost of another villain you control or in your discard pile. First appearance attack, deal damage to each player equal to half their current health rounded down. And then Injustice Lex Luthor. You may put up to 3 equipment from your discard pile in your hand. If you choose not to, plus 3 power. First appearance attack, each player discards a random card. Player discards a card with the highest cost gains a weakness. Interesting. Then our level 3s is we have Injustice Black Adam. You may put any number of attack cards with different types from your discard pile into your hand. If you choose not to, plus 3 power. First appearance attack. Each player discards a hero. It takes damage equal to its cost. Each player cannot gain 2 weakness cards. And then we have Injustice Doomsday. Plus 4 power, area of attack. Each foe gains 2 weakness. And first appearance attack. Each player destroys a card with a cost of 5 or greater in their hand or discards a card in the discard pile. So, now we have 2 more cards that were added in here. So, I am not 100% sure if they're going to be in this set or not. So just hesitant on that. Is we have a level 4 version. They do mention these in here. They were originally planned to be released later on. They were added during the Kickstarter, so they have the 10th anniversary logo. So these may not be in the retail set. These might have been part of the Kickstarter exclusive add-on with the intent of their being released in a later set. So just saying that. Because I don't know if it... Because they mention the rule, but they don't show them. 14 Nemesis cards. Let's just count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, but again, this is also... I don't know if this rulebook is specified. Yep, so yeah, they're probably in here. They were just added as additional cards. So we do have some level 4s. The level 4s have a blue back on there, just to show that they have to be used as the final card in any stack. They did the same with the Crisis sets for the Impossible mode, showing the biggest guy has to be in there. You didn't see the difference as Doomsday is 12, Batman and Superman are 14. So you get Injustice Batman, ongoing stack, equipment cards getting ambush attack, each player gains a weakness. At the end of each player's turn, deal damage to that player equal to the number of heroes in the lineup. Yeah, cool. So these guys all have ongoing stacks. As long as they're out, they're going to keep making stuff harder. And then on the other hand, we have Injustice Superman. Ongoing stack, superpowers getting ambush attack. Each player gains a weakness. At the end of each player's turn, deal damage to that player equal to the number of villains in the lineup. So both of these guys are out. They are going to constantly just push the game farther. So you need to either defeat them quick to win, or you're going to be fighting against these, or you're going to probably die a lot. It's probably just going to keep happening. You're going to gain a lot of weakness and take a lot of damage. Alright, up next card type we have are the Clash cards. So these are impossible modes. So if you want to add these, they just get shuffled into the main deck. When you draw them, you do their ambush effects. So we have Overload. Each player may meter burn 1 to avoid this attack. So each player reveals and draws the top card of their deck. The foe to your right deals damage to equal to the cost of the card you drew. And the only reason it makes sense for saying what person deals damage is because there might be something that references somebody doing damage to that person. System failure. Ambush. Each player discards their hand and draws 3 cards. Each player may meter burn 3 to draw 2 cards. From the Shadows. Ambush. Each player resolves the current Nemesis card. First appearance attack. If the current Nemesis is face down, the next attack is unavoidable. Blindsided. Ambush. Destroy all cards in the lineup with a cost of 5 or greater, then refill the lineup. Ambush attack. Each player gains a weakness for each card destroyed by this card. Savage Beatdown. Each player may meter burn 2 to avoid. Each player reveals a card from their hand and deals damage equal to its cost to the foe on their left. So the thing with stuff like this is you have to decide, do you spend these meter burns to avoid these, or the same with regular cards. Do you spend them to do that, or do you save up for your superpower? So they give you some options there. We have Home Surgery. Ambush. Each player may meter burn to heal 4. Finishing move. Each player may meter burn 3 to avoid this. To avoid being defeated by this card. Each player's 6 or less remaining health is defeated by the foe on their right. Traitor Among Us. Ambush attack. Each player gains the top card of the main deck and gains a weakness. Cards equal to half its cost. Ooh, that could be bad because everyone gains a different amount. Favor of the Gods. Each player may meter burn 2 to avoid damage. Each player gains the top card of the main deck. The foe to your right deals damage equal to the cost of the card you gained. Nasty Surprise. Destroy all cards in the lineup with the highest cost, then refill the lineup. Ambush attack. The foe to your right deals damage equal to the cost of the destroyed cards. Enemy of my enemy. Ambush. Each player reveals a card from their hand and passes it to the target foe, then puts cards that already passed in your hand. Cover Fire. Ambush. Each player may meter burn 2, destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. Have a blast. Ambush the players with the lowest total VP value on cards in their hand deal 5 unavoidable damage to target foe. Total Anarchy. Ambush. Players with the highest total VP value on cards in their hand gains 2 weakness cards. And finally, Mobilize. Ambush. Each player discards any number of cards from their hand. Charge your meter once for each card you discarded this way. Yeah, so this got some definitely interesting elements to the game. I like the fact almost that there's the same artwork in every card. Although I'm a huge fan of having multi-different artworks for everything. I think something like this really works, kind of like the starter cards, because just having the same card lets you just instantly see that's what it is. And when you see different artwork, you know you have a different type of card. Even though like the format and the layout and all that stuff is different as well. Alright, so the next thing we want to look at are the arenas. Alright, zoom out a little bit here. So we have all the different arenas. On the back, they will say Arena Injustice, just to keep track of what those are. Yeah, if you want to play it this move, you'll have some different options. So Watchtower, Javelin, Meter Burn 1, put this card on top of your deck, or Computer, charge your meter. The Hall of Justice. Is that why do I say Miracle Man? Is that not right? In Barda Free, Big Barda. And there's a giant robot. Anyhow, Hall of Justice statue. So I like how it's underneath the stuff as well. Reduce the cost of the card by 1. Fountain, heal 2, or drone deal 3 unavoidable damage to the foe you attacked this turn. We go to Gotham City. We have the Bat Signal. Put a defense card from your discard pile on top of your deck. Helicopter. Deal 2 unavoidable damage to target foe. And Water Tower. Deal 1 unavoidable damage to each foe. Now, this one, they could have done better with these. So, I just want to say, this looks cool because it's statue, fountain, drone. It makes sense. They show them on here. The Javelin is kind of over here. You can't really see it. There's kind of a computer there. Alright. But this one, you don't see a water tower or a helicopter. They could have had a little bit better imagery to went with these. That would have been kind of neat as well. Same thing with this. Because it was showing they were in the stages. Would have been kind of cool. Ferris Aircraft. Gas Tanner. Deal 1 unavoidable damage to each foe. And Missile Launcher. Destroy another card in the lineup. We have Wayne Manor with Bane and Killer Frost sitting outside. We have the car. Discard a card to draw a card. The Fountain, heal 2, and Gargoyle, meter burn 1. Put this card on top of your deck. The Mascara. Canyon, meter burn 1, destroy a card in your discard pile. And Barrel, charge your meter. The Insurgency, or Batman's team. Pipe, put an attack card from your discard pile on top of your deck, or Reactor, charge your meter. Metropolis, Minigun. Deal 2 unavoidable damage to each of your foes you attack this turn. And Hover Car, refill the lineup in this slot. Excuse me. Fortress of Solitude, Doomsday, target foe gains a weakness, or Phantom Zone. Put a superpower card from your discard pile on top of your deck. And then the Batcave. Chamber, putting equipment from your discard pile on top of your deck. Computer, charge your meter, and Batmobile. Deal 2 unavoidable damage to target foe. So one thing that was neat is the computers on the same ones do the same effects. The fountains do the same effects. So at least they kind of kept those the same. Definitely this opens up a lot of really interesting stuff for the game. With all this different stuff. You can easily see I could see an expansion being for this. They could even do might be able to do almost another full big box set called Injustice 2. More arenas to go through, more different playable superheroes. I could also see it being a smaller set, kind of like the Crisis sets, which had instead of 160 cards or whatever, 207 cards in this game. You have, the 100 cards, half the size or whatever. But again, you can have a couple new characters, super moves to fight, some new arenas, stuff like that. So before we look at the Kickstarter exclusive stuff, I want to look at the tokens, the VP tokens. Just so we can see what those all do to get an idea of all the bad stuff that can hit you with those. We have, you must meter burn all. Ongoing, when you defeat a nemesis, gain 2 weakness cards. Attacker may draw a card. Attacker may draw a card. Ongoing, when you gain a card with 5 cost or greater from the lineup, gain a weakness. Reduce the first damage you deal to 1 or more foes by 1 for each turn. Attacker charges a meter twice. Immediately reset your health to 15. So basically that's saying you get KO'd. Now you have 15 instead of 20 health. Ongoing, you cannot destroy starter cards. Ongoing, start your turn, reveal the top card of your deck. If it has cost of 1 or greater, discard it. Then we have a bunch more on this page. So we have gain 2 weakness cards, and discard your hand and draw 4 cards. Destroy a random card in your discard pile. We have 2 of those, and you must meter burn all. So now we have 2 of those. So it's like we might have 2 of each of these. Immediately reset your health to 15, so that's the second time we've seen that. Discard all equipment cards. This thing's upside down because it fell out. Discard all superpowers. Discard all heroes. Discard all villains. Discard a card with the highest cost. Attacker may destroy a card in their hand or discard pile. You get 2 of those, and attacker charges their meter twice. So yeah, those are all the fun, different VP tokens we can get. Very interesting. Alright, so now we're going to look at some Kickstarter exclusive stuff. So, to start off, is I want to look at this. This is just an extra set of light punches, heavy punches, vulnerabilities, and defend. So, this does not have the Kickstarter logo or anything like that, but it came with the Kickstarter box, or exclusives. It's just another set of player cards, so that now you can play, an additional player. So they get added on there because it can be mixed and matched with all the rest of it. Now that adds you up to 4 players, or 5 players. If you want to play a 6th player, they have the Kickstarter exclusive pack, which has the same number. But they have brand new artwork on there, plus they have the 10th anniversary logo and the Kickstarter logo down here. So it's the same light punches, just with different artwork on there. We have the 2 heavy punches, the 2 vulnerabilities, and the defend. So if you have the Kickstarter, now you have the ability to play up to 6 players. Now, that being said, if I can figure out where I put them, and I'm a mess. Alright, I'm going to pause for a second. Alright, if you want to play up to 6 players, the only way to do it without just making your own thing is the Kickstarter came with these special boards, which are sunken in. So you get 4 of them. So again, that's not enough for 6 players, but you could have 4 players use these, and the other 2 players just use the regular ones. But these are double layered. So what the idea is here is then you're also going to get these little cubes and little cylinders, and there's going to be 4 yellow ones for your charge meter and 4 different colors, but they're going to help keep track of your stuff, so then you can just, move your cube over every time you take damage, or move your charge meter up, versus having a little counter on there, or a little square that gets moved around, that could slide off. I mean, again, these things they're going to kind of stay in there, but, they'll pop out very easily. They're not, sitting in there tight or anything. But that's kind of a neat extra bonus. Now, personally, I wish I'd almost bought an additional set of these, so I would have had 6 of them, or I have 8 total, so I had at least 6. But I didn't figure I'd probably going to get around to having 6 players too terribly often, and if I do, or if I have 5, and I'm the 5th player, the 6th player will just play at the regular boards. It's not that big of a difference. But they're a neat, nice little add-on just for the base game. So you get 4 of them with the Kickstarter. Before we get into the heroes, we want to look at, as long as we have it still zoomed out, we are going to get 2 new arenas. We have Oa, which has Training Ground, Meterberg 1, destroy a card in your discard pile, and Central Power Battery, drawing extra card at the end of the turn. And then we also get Arkham Island. Pig, target foe gains a weakness, and Chandelier. Look at the top card of your deck, you may discard it. So this is again where I kind of have an issue with the artwork. It would have been, I almost would have rathered them just, maybe they didn't have the rights to do this, or they didn't want to go different, but like, all of the other cards in here are drawing. They're probably from the comic books. I would have almost preferred these if they're going to go in this way, just to be artwork ripped directly from the stages of the video game. Because then you would have seen the pig or the chandelier. Even if they weren't, again, maybe necessarily lined up in the exact spots, I think it would have been a lot cooler just to have that. But of course, there's a bunch of locations we didn't get to. So that could be additional stuff as well. Alright, up next, we are going to look at some of the other Kickstarter cards. We have new characters. So we are going to get Injustice Lex Luthor. So we're going to get to play as Lex Luthor if you have the Kickstarter set. It's all fuzzy there. There we go. So each time you gain your equipment, charge your meter, and you may put it on top of your deck. Meter burn 1, destroy a card in the lineup, and refill the lineup. And then Lex Luthor's super move is +2, is coordinates received, +2 power, destroy any number of cards in the lineup, refill the lineup. Deal 1 unavoidable damage to each foe. Each foe for each different cost card among the cards in the lineup. So that's cool. Next up, we have Injustice Nightwing. Once per turn, if you control 2 or more different non-starter cards of the same type, charge your meter and +1 power. And the super move is Dark as Night. So you have Batman's the Darkest Night, and then his is Dark as Night. Put up to 2 different cards with a cost of 4 or less from your discard pile. Deal 1 unavoidable damage to each foe for each card with a cost of 2, 3, or 4 you control. And then we have Injustice Shazam. And as you can tell, if you're going through this stuff, some of the characters are on one side, some are on the other. Yeah, they kind of bounce around from time to time during the storyline. Once per turn, charge your meter once for each different non-starter type amongst cards you played this turn. And then Power of Shazam. Discard any number of different cards, then draw that many cards. Deal 1 unavoidable damage for each foe and each different card type among the cards you in your discard pile. Then we're going to get some villains. We have Injustice Catwoman. Each time you gain a card from the lineup, charge your meter. The first time you successfully attack any foe each turn, look at the top card of the main deck, return it or add it to the lineup. And then we have 9 lives. Each time you gain a card from the lineup this turn, replace it and you may avoid any ambush effect. Then deal 1 unavoidable damage to each foe. Gain a card that costs 5 or less from the lineup. So she has 7. 7 so far the highest we've seen for charge moves. Injustice Killer Frost. Kind of like the most bland one, like the art's neat, but like just nothing in the background. Kind of odd. Each time you play a villain, heal 1. Pay 2 health. Target foe cannot avoid your next attack this turn. So that's an interesting mechanic overall. And then Endless Whiteout. +2 power and heal 2. Deal 1 unavoidable damage to each foe for each damage you healed this turn. And then our final villain for the Kickstarter stuff is Injustice Raven. Each time you gain a superpower, charge your meter. Once per turn, if you have played 2 or more different superpowers this turn, play a hero or villain from the lineup, then destroy it. And her super move is Deadly Sting. Reveal the top card of each player's deck. Play 1 of the revealed cards, then return it. Deal 2 unavoidable damage to each foe for an additional 1 damage for each card you played this turn you didn't own. So cool, so you get 3 extra ones of each of those. We are also going to gain some extra regular deck cards. We have, and these will be 1 of each different card, so just 1 of each different one. We have Power Armor. +2 power, meter burn 2, pay 1 less to buy cards from the lineup this turn. Energy Shield, ongoing defense. Discard this card to pay to avoid an attack. If you do, you may destroy a card from your hand or discard pile. I love the energy shield cards. Eskrima sticks. So there's Damien Nightwing. +1 power. Put a card with a cost of 3 or less from your discard pile in your hand. And Winging. Charge your meter and draw a card. Defense. Discard this to avoid an attack. If you do, charge your meter and put a card with a cost of 3 or less from your discard pile in your hand. And then our last equipment is Cat's Claws. +2 power, area of attack. Each foe that avoiding an attack this turn discards a card. Superpowers. We have Flash Freeze. Draw a card. After avoiding an attack, you may reveal this card from your hand. If you do, heal 3. Frostbite. You may destroy a card in your discard pile. If you do, charge your meter X times and heal X. Draw a card. Dark Transmission. +1 power, play a card with a cost of X or less from the lineup. Return to the end of the turn. X is the total damage you have dealt to a foe this turn. Atlas Torpedo. +1 power. This is the first card you play during this turn. Discard your hand and draw 4 cards. Charge your meter once for each card with a cost of 1 or greater discarded this way. And then finally, the Bolts of Zeus. +3 power, charge your meter 3 times. Nice. Alright, then we're going to get some new heroes. So, Injustice Huntress. +2 power, after avoiding an attack, you may reveal this card from your hand. If you do, deal 3 unavoidable damage to target foe. Injustice Batwoman. +2 power, an additional +1 for each defense card in your discard pile. And Injustice Captain Atom. +3 or +1 power, meter burn X, destroy X different cards in your hand and or discard pile. +1 power for each card, the cost of 1 or greater destroyed this way. Some villains, we have Injustice Talabek. +3 power, area of attack, deal 3 damage to each foe. Injustice Bizarro. +2 power, area of attack, deal 1 damage to each foe plus 1 additional damage for each weakness card you reveal from your hand or discard pile. And then finally, Injustice Victor Azaz. +2 power, if you successfully attack the foe this turn, you may destroy a card in your hand. Alright. And then we have some more Nemesis cards. We get, for the hero side, we have Injustice Green Lantern John Stewart. +3 power, you may put a defense card from your discard pile on top of your deck. So this can start off your level 1 character. So this is kind of nice. If you didn't want to start with Joker, you can start with him. Injustice Hawkman. +3 power and area of attack, deals 6 damage to each foe. First appearance attack. Each player puts an attack 4 or greater from their hand or discard pile into the lineup. Each you cannot gain 2 weaknesses. That's a level 3 though. These are kind of out of order, I guess. Another level 2 would be Injustice Martian Manhunter. Draw 2 cards, area attack. Each foe reveals the top card of their deck. Deal damage to each foe equal to the cost of the cards they revealed. First appearance attack. Each player discards the top 2 cards of their deck and takes damage equal to their combined cost. The Injustice Green Lantern Core, who's only a level 2. You may put up to 2 heroes from your discard pile into your hand. If you choose not to, 3 power. First appearance attack. Each player discards all attack cards. And then we have Injustice the Flash. Draw 2 cards, meter burn 3 to draw 2 cards. Unavoidable first appearance attack. Each player gains 3 weakness cards. You may meter burn X to reduce the number of weakness you gain by X. So that's kind of cool. Our villains, we get Injustice Lobo. +3 power, you may destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. First appearance attack. The players with the highest VP total on the value of cards destroy a card 1 or greater in their hand. Injustice Sinestro. You may put up to 2 villains from your discard pile into your hand. If you choose not to, +3 power. First appearance attack. Each player destroys a defense in their hand or discard pile. Each who cannot gains a weakness. level 3s, we have Injustice the Spectre. Draw 2 cards, deal 1 unavoidable damage to each foe for each attack in their hand or discard pile. First appearance attack. Deal 1 damage to each player for each attack card in their hand or discard pile. Injustice Trigon. You may put up to 3 cards, each with a cost of 6 or less from your discard pile into your hand, if you choose not to 3 power. First appearance attack. Each player destroys 2 cards in their hand and deals damage equal to their combined cost to the foe on their left. And Injustice Dark Side. Plus 3 power, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, destroy any number of them, return the rest in any order, charge meter a number of times equal to the combined cost of the cards you destroyed. First appearance attack. Each player discards 2 random cards and takes damage equal to their combined cost. So it's definitely fun. Another really cool upside about getting these cards is the fact that you could now basically play 2 characters as 2 or 3 characters playing a 6-player game, maybe. Even still, but you could have one team be the heroes, one team be the villains, and there'd be enough super villains and superhero cards for the Nemesis stacks to have one for each. So then you could be like, the villain characters attack the heroes and vice versa. So that's kind of an interesting extra bonus thing. Alright, we have a couple other, these are promo cards. I have one other Kickstarter card, and then we have some promo cards to look at. So our last Kickstarter card was the Kickstarter Backer. This is representing the 10th anniversary set, so this is to be a hero card. For that, so each time you buy a card from the lineup, reveal the top card of the main deck. If it has a cost greater than the card you bought, add it to the lineup plus 1 power. So that's kind of cool. Just an extra little bonus for someone that's played the game, and at least backed this. Maybe not going to follow it for 10 years, but at least been backing this Kickstarter. Alright, then we have some promo cards. So our first promo card is Injustice Sinestro. So these promo cards are usually represented as being like first edition printings of the set. So when you first buy this game, if you buy it in retail, it might have a little sticker on the front of the box, or on the actual box might be printed first edition printing. So that way you know that this card might be in there. And I'm not for sure which cards will be in there come retail, because again, these all came in the Kickstarter regardless, and they're unlocked throughout Kickstarter stretch goals. So I won't promise they'll be released that way. They hopefully should at least be released separately later on in the Cryptozoic store. But the first one we have is Injustice Sinestro. It does say promo, but he also says Injustice on the bottom. And I believe they put that on there so that you know that he belongs with that set. So it says, each time you play a villain, put a card with a cost of 0 from your discard pile into your hand. Discard 2 cards to charge your meter. And then his superpower is Sinestro's Might. Plus 2 power, deal 1 unavoidable damage to each foe for each villain you control and in your discard pile. Then the other 2 promo cards we're going to get are the Batman Who Laughs. You may gain a weakness from the destroyed pile. At the start of your turn, you may gain a weakness. If you do, play the top card of the main deck, then destroy it. So this is an oversized card that doesn't really fit in with the Injustice theme, doesn't have the superpower or charge stuff, but it's a promo that, nonetheless, it kind of just goes to the general DC deck building. And the same thing with this is we have Beast Boy, who is a superhero, but he doesn't have the level card for Nemesis, so he's just meant to be in the regular decks. Draw a card. You may put a card from your discard pile. You may put your deck into your discard pile. Then you may discard any number of cards. For each card discard this way, you draw a card. You may put your deck into your discard pile. Then discard any number of cards. For each card discard this way, you may put a different card of the same type and cost 6 less from your discard pile into your hand. Okay, my bad. So put your deck in there so you can basically get rid of your deck, and then you can discard cards to play extra cards. Gotcha. I was reading that all weird. First appearance attack, discard 2 cards with a cost of 1 or greater. Alright, so that's kind of cool as well. Also goes to some of the other stuff is we might have enough characters here to theme out to make a Teen Titans theme set to fight against. That is what we have for this set, for the Injustice. There are special rules for adding this into the multiverse set if you want to play that. You can mix and match other games in there. It'll be really cool to see if they, again, do an expansion. You could do Injustice 2. There's a lot of characters that didn't get represented. A big notable one right off the bat is obviously lots of the playable characters. We didn't get like Aquaman or Black Canary. Something like this. Or Atrocitus wasn't even in this set at all. Lots of different stuff in there. Characters that weren't even mentioned or represented. Plus there's other locations they didn't go to. Lots of really cool stuff. Like, I don't think they end up doing the guest characters at all. Like, especially, like, Ninja Turtles, or stuff like that, where they're of another franchise, just because they don't have the rights to it. But I also don't know if they'd even necessarily have the rights to do, like, Scorpion or Sub-Zero. Because although, the video game companies, I believe it's WB, might have the rights to use them in their games, because it's also made by the same company that does Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. That doesn't mean that these guys have it, because again, all the artwork in here was based off the comic book, so they might have the rights to use the storyline stuff from the Injustice game, but they might not have the right to use any of the artwork or assets from those games. But again, see a little small Crisis type set, little add-on like that, some more extra characters, new locations, things like that would definitely be cool. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.